What's good, everyone? This is your man Z, and welcome to new episode of Passport to the Pros. Today, we'll be talking more about the playoff and all the latest in the NBA nowadays, players and team. And let's get right into it. I would like to just please welcome with me our great producer, Mike. He's the one behind all of this magic you see right now. I would like to welcome also my teammate, friend, brother. At some point, he was an idol, and at some point, he was a rival. My man, Chad Hendrick. And today, new addition for us, and he's going to be with us more often. The expert on the betting corner, the man, the one and only Giorgio. So we have a great episode coming up. Let's get right into it. Mike, what you got for us?
Yeah, no, it's great to have Giorgio here, bring in some gambling content for all the bettors out there, and obviously it's the playoffs. You know, we're through the first round, so a lot to unpack, um, and then we got some other discussions to go on. So let's kick it off. So um, I guess the first question is favorite series and takeaways from round one. Any highlights that anyone wants to highlight? Giorgio, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, I would say the Denver series versus Minnesota. It was quite surprising. I've been a hater for Denver because I'm a Lakers fan for the longest, and we can't ever beat Denver Nuggets. So to see the way they collapsed was really interesting, especially with Ant being out of that series, Vincenzo tearing his Achilles. And then you had just role players stepping up. You had see the rise of McDaniels. McDaniels completely shut down Murray. I've never seen Murray not be able to even create a shot um, throughout the whole series, pretty much. So that series was honestly really, really fun to watch.
I agree.
Agree.
I agree
I
100%.
think Jaden McDaniel definitely a breakout year for him, and he was always good defensively, but like it was his offense that really carried the team. Like that was crazy that he was able to step up.
Chad, what you
100%.
got?
Oh man, listen, what most impressed me was the Philadelphia 76ers. Like we were, I'm in Philadelphia now, so we were surprised. I've been watching them all year, and they just been kind of cruising up under the radar, just kind of staying afloat. First of all, I want to say Maxey is a superstar now at this point in the NBA.
Yeah.
So you got to get that to him, and just those guys just held the fort down. Then all of a sudden, Embiid comes through and starting to feel better, and now we passed the second round. Now, yes, we got beat pretty bad in the first round, but that's to be expected. Playing a 7-game series like they just did, against the Boston Celtics, who of course was favored. So yeah, man, I enjoyed that series. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do against the New York Knicks. They struggled in the first game, but we'll see what the next game looking like.
I do have some bad news. He just got ruled out, though. So Embiid is out for game 2.
Oh, see?
Yeah, that just happened.
See?
So
Breaking news on the spot.
That's why we never got our hopes up this year at all, Philadelphia at all about this.
Yeah, I think they're just waiting to go back to Philly at this point. So.
Oh my goodness gracious!
And guys, probably at the end we can talk a little bit about those injuries. Like, I think it worth talk about it a little bit. Like, why are we having so many injuries, especially on the lower body?
Yeah.
Like, we are supposedly at the latest, technology and research and everything. Players should be way healthier than they are right now. So we'll get into that because I think that's a very important subject to talk about. But I agree with you. I agree with you. The Sixers was like a very surprising series. They came out beating Boston, who was favored. If anything, I would for sure. Maxey was amazing, but man, VJ, man, I love this kid, man. Since the draft,
what a
since
surprise.
day one, man, he's so hungry for something like this, and it shows that when you come hungry like that, good things happen. I want him to be the rookie of the year, but understand, it's Cooper time, or they want it to be Cooper time. I don't know. We'll talk about that in a different occasion.
Yeah.
But I agree. My favorite also was the. I'm a Lakers fan too, just like Giorgio, but I think Boston, Philadelphia was very interesting. Talking about how it looked like now. What do you guys think? Now we are at 8 teams, 4 series. What do you guys think? Who's more favored to win? Which is what more interesting to watch in your opinion?
Well, I mean, in my opinion, I mean, the OKC, I don't see anybody beating OKC. I just think they got it going now. They beat you in so many ways. They got the youth. Now they have the experience. Shea is the MVP of the league. I mean, the Spurs is the closest team that I can think of that may have a chance to compete with those guys, but they struggled in this first round. Now, of course, it's the first game and what have you, but still, you know, they got to get Wembanyama got to do better offensively. You know, and he's gonna have to be consistent in order to get himself a chance to be able to beat a team like OKC. So yeah, I mean,
Okay,
they look
do
like
you
they're
want to
gonna come
guys
out on
talk
top.
about Wemby? Do you guys want to talk about Wemby a little bit? Let me hear it from different perspective.
Sure,
We all
absolutely.
know how a big talent he is. I love his mentality. He also want to win. He bring passion for the game. But let's see what you, Giorgio, think about it, what you, Chad, think about it, and Mike, and let's analyze his game, especially in the playoff, because I think he's the rock and the Spurs. He's the one. If he's doing well, everybody somehow is doing well. So, what do you think, Giorgio? Let me start with you.
I've watched probably every single Wemby game this year just because it's so fun to watch. Um,
He is
the
fun.
one issue I would say I have with Wemby's, and it's flashy and it's all over the news when it happens. His 3 point shooting, he can shoot the ball, but he shouldn't need to. The guy should just be getting in the post, throwing him a lob, and just he can literally throw it over anybody into the hoop. I struggle to see how someone as talented, as tall as Wemby can have 11 points in a playoff game.
Yes.
That game drove me crazy because so many offensive possessions where the Spurs guards just wanted to take the ball and make a move on their own when they had a guy like Wemby standing around the 3 point line at times. And when you just need a bucket, there's no other like closer than assurance of a bucket than getting Wemby close to the hoop. And if he's not even open, if you just throw him a high pass or a lob pass, nobody can even reach the ball. The guy's 7'6" tall and can jump over anybody. And so that is my only issue with Wemby. He should not have games where he has 11 points. He played the whole game. He wasn't even in foul trouble. And so watching the stretch of that game was kind of confusing. But I also what I noticed is he was getting exhausted. I don't know if you guys noticed in the whole season they limited his minutes. In the whole season, his minutes were limited, and now that he's pushing close to 40, it's affecting him. And his hands are on his knees, and I think the minutes are actually getting to him.
Man, that's a great point. I definitely agree. Mike, what do you think?
Obviously, health is gonna always be a concern, especially with big guys like that. So I do hope he gets healthy. I agree with Giorgio. I think I watched a lot of Kristaps Porzingis when he was here with the Washington Wizards, and he had this move that I wish Wemby did more of, where because he's so tall, and whenever he's got a smaller defender on him, he can just go straight up and shoot the mid range, and that was so consistent. And as I've been watching Wemby lately, I don't feel he adds that to his game. You know what I mean? He's either shooting from the outside, or he's driving, and he's getting fouls, he's getting the calls, but it's like I don't know. It's just something an aspect to his game that I haven't seen him utilize as much as I'd like, and he's even taller than Porzingis, so it's really nothing. It's like he could just really go up. His elbow is easily going to be right above the head of the defender,
Always.
and it's not hard for me to do. It's not hard for him to do. It's not hard for me to do as well sometimes, depending on
And I was just saying, you can shoot that thing too.
I think you just got excited, Mike.
He's like, "Put me in."
Well,
but
honestly, yeah. No, you tell me.
No. I was just gonna say, but like, I think it's also so good that I like the fact that they lost that first round. I think that's in that first game, and I think that's good for a young team coming up. It gives them that adversity. Honestly, even if they don't win, like they've made such a huge leap this year that it's just such a good foundation for that young team. I like seeing Fox step up a little bit more, seeing more of like what he used to do in Sacramento. I feel that wasn't really happening when he first moved to the Spurs. Um,
Still isn't, Mike. He had 2 points going into the 3 minutes in the fourth quarter. I'm
in
telling you
game
that.
one,
Yes. Like, as I was live betting him throughout the night to get going, and like the guy got his second bucket with 4 minutes to 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
All right.
Like that's not going to win you
Maybe my
games.
memory is stuck still in the Portland series, but overall, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
he killed Portland. He was really good against Portland. Yeah.
Chad, what you got?
First I want to say what I didn't like what I saw at the end of the game is how he hot potatoed that ball out of his hand. Now I didn't like that because that indicates a confidence situation at that moment. And my 24-year-old son told me this about Wemby. He told me that Wemby in his generation is looked upon as how we looked at Michael Jordan. I thought that was very, extensive to say. So I feel like in situations like this, you got to rise to the occasion. There's really no excuse. I agree with both you guys. I agree with you when it comes to the health, but I feel like he's doing the necessary things that he has to do to maintain his physicality and his health. So I think he's doing those things, but there's really no excuse. And I agree with you too. He has to play a little bit more around the basket. Yes, you're a great shooter, but I mean, geez, at some point you have to take advantage of your advantages. Yeah, Shaq was talented and he could do a lot more than we saw him do, but he also could dunk it on you every time. So why make it
Right.
difficult when you have a particular skill set that's dominating? Kareem could do a whole lot of other stuff, but he had a hook shot that was unstoppable. So why do something else if no one can stop it?
Exactly.
So I get that thought process too. He should take advantage of his outlandish athletic prowess more so than relying on that jump shot.
Man, 100%. I mean, let's also give some credit for the Timberwolves. I mean, they are in the conference final for the last 2 years. Ant-Man is back in
Yeah.
in the lineup.
Oh
I
yes.
I think, just to touch on what Giorgio said and all of you also agreed on, which is where I agree on, they played him with two different defender. At some point there was a big guy guarding him, and at some point there was more of a guard guarding him. He should automatically, it's a common sense for any basketball player. You have a guard on you, I'm a big guy, I take him down. I use my size against him. Yeah, when Gobert was there, okay, you can, take him out, try to shoot over him because you can beat him by dribble. He already dunked on him twice. So it will work with when a big guy on you because he's a little faster, he can dribble better. But he should know how to make his offense more versatile, let's say. Like, now it's time for me to go low post. Now it's time for me to use my, size and length and everything. But also, he's still young. I mean, the whole team,
Yeah.
haven't been in an occasion like this. So um, I agree. Fox need to step up. He's the vocal point at this point in the team, supposedly. But I think also Minnesota is like just doing a crazy, crazy work. They are more experienced. I wasn't thinking about the minutes that Giorgio talked about, but now it makes sense because he was a little injured. The Spurs always said because Wemby is such a you know, new talent or new size for them, they don't want to take their chances of letting him play more than he usually do just to understand how it affects his body. But when it comes to the playoff, like Georgia said, man, he's like not ready for that much of time. Uh, let's give him a credit. He did great, man. He had a triple double in blocks. Like, man, 12 blocks, I think, in the game. Insane.
I mean, 8 of those blocks, yes, was clean. He had about
Yeah.
3
Four
goaltends,
of them
though.
were not really blocks, but
Man,
I mean,
take
Right.
three out. He still have
yeah.
8 or 9
Take 3
clean
out,
blocks.
but 8
Okay.
clean blocks is pretty impressive, though. Yes.
Yes, yes. I probably didn't average 8 in my whole career. So
Man,
let's
exactly.
give it to but no, I think it would be fun to watch how mature and smart he's gonna be. Let's see how he handle game 2. Let's see how he go play on the road. He's smart enough to surround himself with a player like KG and all that people who will like give him the fire and even yell at him and tell him what to do. So let's see if he's that mature because at the end if people looking up to him like Michael and all that, this is the time where you show, okay, I wasn't good but I'm coming back better. So let's see what he got. All right, do you guys
100%.
want to move to different series then? Let's talk about
Yeah,
the
I mean,
Lakers a little bit. I mean, Lakers.
I was
let's talk
about to
about the Lakers.
say.
Yeah, I
So
wanted I
hold
wanted to hear
on.
from Chad on like how he felt after after his history with the Rockets. I mean, where did
Listen.
Wembanyama
Well,
sit in his ranking?
We're not
I'm
in
gonna, I'm gonna
Houston
tell you
anymore.
this. I'm not in Houston anymore, but I'm gonna tell you this. Houston has a long after the 2 championships we won. Houston has had a long history, in my opinion, of just fumbling the ball, being able to acquire the best talent, and just not being able to get it done, man. Now, to the Rockets' credit, first of all, I'm a big KD fan, but people need to understand KD is just there to play basketball. KD is not the type of guy where you're going to hang your hat on to win. I'm just, that may be very controversial, but
No, that's true. He's just a hooper.
he's just a hooper. He just loves to play basketball. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. But
But
if you
don't you
put him
think
with
that's
some guys,
not a good thing? Probably.
if you're trying to win a championship, no, because he doesn't have the fire. He doesn't have the leadership quality it takes to navigate a team to a championship. He doesn't take that part. He doesn't take that part of the game serious, in my opinion. He was on a good team with the Golden State Warriors when, he was just a part of a group of guys. They was good before he got there. They was good after he left. So it wasn't like he just made it unfair, actually, but he's not the guy to hang your hat on. And my Rockets, I hate to say it, just as a team, they don't have the best basketball IQ as a team, so they struggle with that, but they have a lot of young pieces. The future is bright, but we still got a long way to go. That when we signed KD, I never thought that was the one, to carry this group of guys anywhere, to be honest.
When I was watching some of the games in that series, it really came back to me about how so many times NBA teams have such a knee-jerk reaction to losing, even when they're young. Like Houston, okay, they lost in the first round last year against, I believe it was Golden State, but Jalen Green had his first playoff series ever. He did pretty good. Say what you want about Brooks, but he brings a lot to the team in terms of motivation, in terms of defense. And that trade-off for KD, it's like
it didn't balance. It didn't balance out. I didn't like it.
We've seen it when he went to the Suns. We've seen it
right.
essentially when he went to the Nets. Like,
correct.
You're right. He's like a mercenary. You hire him to come in and get 25 points, and he goes home and he wants no other responsibility after. He just wants to check out and go play his video games. And don't get me wrong, he's probably in the league one of my best players. KD,
absolutely. He's going to go. That doesn't take nothing away from his ability. He's going to go down as one of the greatest players that ever played the game. No question. Right. But as just purely a basketball player, great analogy. He is a mercenary. You hire him to come in and get 25 to 30 points. You're going to get it every night. But that's it. That's all. That's it. No emotional attachment to what it takes to to get to the top of the mountain, and he doesn't bring that to your team, So
since we're on the Rockets, what do we all think about Şengün?
I played with a guy in college that played just like Şengün, so it's so nostalgic to watch him play. You see a guy like that who has an unorthodox way of playing that you think that it's not going to be effective. But boy, that's just. It's the awkwardness that makes you effective,
Right.
I don't know about the longevity. I don't know. I have to watch him some more. I don't know. I'm still not sold yet, but I'm gonna keep watching.
I think Şengün has a long way to go. I watched 2 games out of the series actually in person, and I think. I don't know if it's like a European thing. You see Luka complain a lot. You see Şengün complain a lot. You see a lot of these players flop a lot. He has this element to his game where he's flopping a little bit, and he's just not. He can get a bucket. I mean, he's like a mini Jokic in a sense without the passing. He can get a bucket. He can rebound. He's got a little fadeaway, but he just doesn't have the killer or it factor, as
The
you
it
want to
factor.
say.
Yes.
So I think he has some ways to go. But I mean, the guy can play ball. He's good. It's just he's got to change the way he approaches the game. I feel like. And then the Rockets, as you mentioned, I don't want to bash them, but they were also the youngest lineup ever in a playoff game against the Lakers. As a Lakers fan, I was happy about that. But without KD, there's videos going around the internet about how the whole starting lineup was either in diapers or not born when
Oh my
LeBron was
goodness.
first year in the league. It's a stat.
Huh.
They were all in
Wow.
diapers. They were all either 1 or 2 years old when LeBron's first year in the league. So they didn't have the experience. I think them being complete favorites like that in the beginning of the series was just an outreach, and I don't think people understand like a younger team like that in the playoffs is going to struggle, especially without a leader, as you said. KD's there to hoop, but the real leaders were actually not even available all year. You talk about Fred VanVleet, who won before. He's won a championship before. He's proven himself as an unrestricted free agent, getting the highest amount ever. Not unrestricted, as a undrafted. Sorry,
Right,
player to
right.
get the most money ever. You got Steven Adams, one of the good bigs in the league, who brings that leadership. I mean, nobody would ever dare to get in the face of Steven Adams. And you had Van Fleet, who brings the leadership role. I think without those two players and KD being hurt, it was too big of a task for the Rockets. So I'm not going to bash them to lose them for the my Lakers, but they do need to change some things. Maybe bring in another leader or a vet that can stay consistent in playing. They had that in Jeff Green, but he barely played. I mean, he got like 5 minutes this series. He's not playing anymore. So
True. Well,
yeah,
since we're talking on the Lakers, and they are the one who went over and passed to the second round, let's talk about the Lakers. What do you think, guys? How they handled the Houston series, and now they are playing OKC. Let's talk about the Lakers a little bit. I think I'll start with LeBron. We a lot of people hate on him, love him or hate him, doesn't matter. If you're looking at what he's doing at this age, this is just insane. I mean, let's think about it. I heard Melo talking about him a little bit. He was like, no matter what, LeBron has his, schedule, his thing he work on November, December, January, February, March. He's gonna be ready no matter what. And this is the first year where he's not really the man of the team. It was Luca, it was more Austin Reeve, all that. So to have all these people injured and you just call his name and he step up like this, I think we gotta give him the credit. We gotta know that maybe it'll work with Houston because Houston wasn't ready for this. Houston was like,
Man.
they were seeing all the plays being Luca included, they're completely different. But then LeBron, here you go, and step up, and they had a great game. But I think also the age where got him to be where they are right now with OKC. I think, they start because even with OKC game at the first three quarters, they were doing okay. But then they just like got tired. Like, they couldn't find the answer for all these, players in position. Even LeBron had a decent game, but I think it wasn't enough. So, what do you guys think about the Lakers? What they need to do to step up, and what do you think about what they did with Houston?
Well,
You go, Coach. Chad.
I I want to piggyback off of you and just talk about LeBron James too for a second. When his career is over with, his career needs to be studied. I was just thinking about that this morning. The things that he's doing at his age, at the level that he's doing it at, I was just watching some highlights of him. It's incredible. I probably will never say that he's the GOAT. But you have different things. I don't call him the GOAT. I call him the king. He's probably the greatest physical athlete that we've ever seen. I've never seen anything like that. This guy's averaging 23, 24 points, 7, 8 rebounds, 7, 8 assists still at 41. He's playing with his 20-year-old son. He's getting 28. It's incredible. It has a lot to do with his brilliance because he's by far the smartest player in the NBA and maybe top 3 to the smartest to ever play the game of basketball. But it's amazing what he's doing out there. You know, I hate the fact that the Lakers are so shorthanded or what have you, but the guys seem to be stepping up and trying to fill. But I don't know about this second round, man. You know, I think the age is going to the wear and tear is going to catch up with LeBron eventually. You know, so
I will say the Lakers needed a. Yeah, I've watched every single minute. I will tell you one of our tops is going to be one of the biggest disappointments so far. And as much as I hate to say this, it has been Austin Reaves. The guy is not healthy. I fully get it. But if you're going to take 16 shots a game, you can't make 3 shots. You can't make 3 out of 16. LeBron helped carry the first 3 quarters of the game. He needed somebody to help with a little offensive burst, and it should have been Austin Reaves. You know what I mean? To end the game with 8 points is absolutely, ridiculous. It's crazy because Ayton was the second best player, and I give Ayton a lot of crap all the time. But the one thing I notice about OKC is when they're going up against a good big, they do struggle. Chet is good offensively. I don't think he's the greatest defensively, and they do struggle against bigs. I think it's kind of the reason why Wemby and OKC did really, and the Spurs did well this year against OKC. Going 4-1, and I think they have the biggest advantage over them. But I can speak all day about LeBron. I call him my GOAT. I'm 29. It hurts for me to just get out of my bed. My knees hurt after playing basketball. To see what this guy is doing is unheard of. The documentary, as you mentioned, is going to go crazy. I can't wait for his documentary.
man,
Again, imagine playing in an NBA playoff with your son. Barney is pretty good. The whole nepotism about him getting drafted over a bunch of guys who aren't even in the league anymore in that same draft.
he's earned his spot at this point. He's
He's
earned his
earned his
place.
spot.
Yeah, he's worked his way up. Yeah,
100%. And to see a 12-0 run from a father and son in a playoff game where LeBron hits a 3, Bronny hits a 3, Bronny gets a layup an alley-oop from his father, and then LeBron hits 2 crazy shots in between those two. Those are just moments that we are kind of sleeping on, and just the haters are just going to hate on.
Yeah.
But again, LeBron is limited. LeBron is 41. He'll get you, he got you a casual 27 points against one of the best defensive teams in the league.
Exactly.
And here's a crazy stat I'll give to you guys that's not even talked about. You guys know the last time Shea scored under 20 was May 2025. He hasn't scored less than 20 in a year, and we still lost by 18. That's like they held Shea to 18 points and 7 turnovers.
Well, that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the fact that, if there was a game that the Lakers should have stole, it should have been this one.
And
it was this one, man. Yeah.
It's not going to happen again. Shea is luckily the second MVP again in a row. I don't see him turning the ball over 7 times. The game plan was actually good by JJ. Like, you know what I mean? It's usually not the game, but JJ game planned that well. He doubled him on the right times. He threw the ball out of bounds 4 times. That was part of the turnovers. And yet still, we don't have that second player that needs to go drop 20 points with LeBron.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
And I think this is going to force Luka to come back in game 3. They already just announced that he's ramping up. He's starting to run. Unfortunately, I still don't think it's going to be enough because of how physical OKC plays. So I think LeBron will get you one. I think LeBron will always find a way to get you one game.
I think that as well.
And I think Reaves will have finally a good game. You guys know, with as good Reaves has been, he hasn't scored over 23 points ever in a playoff game. Like, that's insane. You know what I mean? We're talking about him being an all-star and him being, the almost a max player. In some teams, he could be a max player. You've got to get over that hump. He struggled last year against the Minnesota Timberwolves because he struggles against bigger bodies and people who can just be physical with him. I'm hoping game 2 that changes. But again, he's not healthy. So there's only so much I can say. But yeah, 41-year-old LeBron is not going to win you more than one game against OKC. So most of my bets this year has been on Lakers-based games because I've actually know their rotation now. when especially when Luca was healthy and Reaves, the best way to bet is to know when the rotations are and when. And so there's betting before the game and you're betting after the game. And so the way the Lakers played was, the whole first quarter would be Luca and LeBron, and then Reaves would take a breather 8 minutes into the first, and he would take over the second quarter. Same thing for the fourth quarter. They would just rotate that. Third quarter would be LeBron and Luca, and then fourth Reaves would start without them and take the and bet. So when it comes to betting, I like to live bet during based off who's going to be in the rotation at one time. And then prior, there's one person who's been so good on the Lakers that is not talked about enough. And somebody smart is great, but somebody gave me smoke for this, and I said Rui Hachimura probably has a top three jumper I've ever seen. And I know in my life, that guy, anytime he pulls up in a midi, it is almost automatic. It's like Sean Livingston-esque. It is amazing to see how good of a shooter. He's shooting 51% from three in the first series. Highest ever in this series was Rui. He's not talked about enough. That was a steal from Washington. But again, he is not the type to create his own shots unless he's pushing his man in and getting the midi. So him getting his 15 yesterday was good. It's just he's not the second guy. But I mean, the guy has stepped up tremendously. So you said Smart. Smart is amazing defensively. Smart can get you some tough buckets. But then my only issue with Marcus Smart is if he gets a couple buckets to go in, he tries to see how much of a heater he's on. And then you see him jack these threes and shots that sometimes don't even hit the hoop. And then with teams like OKC, they'll go on a 6-0 run in 20 seconds. And they can't do that against OKC. Against Houston, it worked perfectly fine. They couldn't go on these runs. So then you had players like Luke Kennard and Marcus Smart going on these runs because they can afford to do it, So I'll show you guys my play of the day. Let's see if it works. Does this work? You can see this? Is it visible to you guys?
Yeah, we can see it.
All right,
I can see it.
So a little bit has changed. Embiid actually just got ruled out, as we mentioned. So this parlay would be around a plus 100. And I'll explain the picks for you guys. So I like to bet anywhere from like an 8 to 10 leg, all like superstars or stars that can get where they need to get. And I like to double my money when I'm watching a game. Unlike other bettors, they're trying to make $1 million every night. I just want to watch the game and double my money and enjoy the night. So usually, unless there's foul trouble or injuries, which with Fanatics, you're covered with injuries on the first half. Usually it's foul trouble. These bets usually hit. So we'll try this out for tonight. I had Embiid for 17. That's going to be scratched. We have Brunson for 18, who has been so consistent. I have no issue with Brunson getting 18. Paul George actually has been playing very well for the 76ers. I have him for 8. But now with Embiid out, you can probably take him for 10 to 12 points. OG Anunoby is like one of the most consistent guys to play for New York. Plays, 44 minutes a night? He's getting his 10 points. He had it actually in the first quarter of last game. Anthony Edwards for 13. You're never going to get this line as low as that. But since he's coming off the bench, his line is lowered. And again, you have to go manually lower all these points on any book that you use. Stephon Castle, just seeing the matchup he had against the Spurs, against the Timberwolves was really good. I think the Timberwolves are closing in on Fox and on Wemby. And McDaniels has been so locked in on Fox that it's allowing others to thrive. So that's why I took Castle for 10, who had 17, I believe. And I also took Dylan Harper for 5, who had like 18 points. Harper's coming in fresh, and McDaniels is going to the bench when Fox is typically going to the bench. So Harper has been playing really well. He's actually one of the better players I've seen coming off the bench this whole year. Naz Reid for 6, because Randall doesn't provide enough offense to keep up with the Spurs. And Naz Reid is one of the most skilled bigs I've seen in the league. He can shoot the 3 lights out. He can drive.
Yes,
oh my
sir.
God, man! Like if Cat played as aggressive as Naz Reid, Cat would have 30 points a game. So,
I agree.
And then the last 2 are Victor Wembanyama just being a menace. I took him for 8 rebounds and 3 blocks. As you said, he had 11. Yeah, he had 11 blocks and he had 12 rebounds in the last game. I believe he's going to be more aggressive in the paint. He's going to get more rebounds. He's definitely going to block being down. Losing that first game is going to piss him off. That's the one thing I like about Wemby. He is a competitor. He plays with so much aggression after having a bad game. And so these are the bets for today. If there's two players that you want to like bet on them over like points and rebounds, it would definitely be Wemby, in my opinion. And I would definitely take Naz Reid as a two. I think Naz Reid will start to get more minutes in this series. I think what's going to end up happening is that Gobert is going to get into foul trouble guarding Wemby, because I don't think they're going to let Wemby play so loosely. I think they're going to have him be aggressive. And I think Gobert gets into foul trouble, which allows Naz Reid to play more minutes in this series. Plus, they're going to need the offense with Ant-Man being not 100%.
Well, that's our show for today. Apologies to everybody for the technical difficulties, but we'll be back soon with our next episode. Take care and see you soon.